Are we live? Oh, we are live. A little bit of a glitch there. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the stream. Much appreciate you stopping by today. And in today's video, we're just going to go over really quickly because I have actually have a couple meetings that I have to get to later on this afternoon. But today we're going to go over very quickly the tools that I use pretty much on a day-to-day basis in order to run a creative company. I was gonna say like agency or whatever it is. I do a lot of creative work, and there can be lots of different tools that you might be tempted to use or what have you. But these are the ones that I've settled on over, again, I don't know how many years I've had doing kind of work in this kind of space. So I've used lots of different tools over the years, but these are the ones that I've settled on that I use currently. And for me, I try to keep my workflow as simple as possible because when you have to use lots of different tools, I don't know, I just find it I don't know, sometimes it get too much. And as you saw yesterday, looking at how much I spend on a monthly basis, or I guess yearly, whatever it is in terms of software subscriptions, it ends up being quite a lot of money. So if you can minimize how many tools you're using, you're also going to minimize how much money you're spending as well too. So yeah, so we're going to get into that. And what I have prepared, I have this spreadsheet that I have over here, and I can see that my face is blocking it. So no, we don't want that. That's for chat. We want this right here. Let's make this, well, yeah, let's just throw it right here. So I broke these tools down into kind of three different components, three different sections. So there's tools that I use for web design and development. There's tools that I use for basically all things audio and visual. And then there's day-to-day stuff for operations, which is just kind of just operating and, you know, maintaining, I guess, the business. So what I want to do is I brought up most of these here just kind of on their home pages. So just to give a brief overview of what they are, and maybe just talk a little bit, I guess, about what I think about them. I think that'll be good. And if you do have any questions, whether you're watching this now or into you're watching into the future after the stream, just let me know what your questions are, and I'll be happy to answer them as best that I can. So obviously the first thing that's the most important thing is because I make websites, I need something that helps me make websites. And for that, I use Webflow. Without a doubt, like my most favorite tool that I've ever used to make websites. It is phenomenal. I used to use WordPress used to be my go-to thing that I used to make websites with. And that has its advantages and disadvantages. But I found that like the way that Webflow works, it just streamlines the process so much more than having to use WordPress. And the customization that you'd have to do on a WordPress site to get it looking exactly the way you want is quite a bit. And there's a lot of maintenance cycles with WordPress and a lot of upkeep. And with Webflow, all that stuff is kind of just behind the scenes. It's really, really nice. They've really made an amazing product with Webflow. And if you're looking at learning how to build websites and design websites, I mean, Webflow is good. You might want to learn the fundamentals first before you dive into Webflow, because it's pretty much like an interface that gives you all the tools that you need to build a website. But if you don't understand what those tools do on a website or in a website, then it could be a little bit harder to figure out exactly how to make it work for you. And one of the things that I guess I can compare it to, I actually have this open right now. I was just working on a little project here. This is DaVinci Resolve, which is an editor. So if you're looking at this, you can very easily be overwhelmed at all the different options that you see here. You're like, what the heck is going on with this, right? And this is just kind of like one little section. So it's very quick to get overwhelmed with all these things unless you kind of understand. So it's the same thing with Webflow. There's so many different buttons and little interfaces or whatever. So learning the fundamentals of what a website is and what a website can do and all that kind of stuff I think that'll help you a whole lot more. So, but it is an amazing tool. So expanding on that a little bit is because Webflow is kind of built as like a no code platform. I don't know if they even say this thing. I'm sure they do it somewhere. Yeah, no coding needed. Like that's the big thing. So unfortunately, because if you're not coding things, there are limitations to it. So sometimes you need to use other tools to enhance the functionality of Webflow because it just doesn't have the capabilities to do that in-house. That being said, they are developing lots of other tools and internal functionality to make things work natively within Webflow, but sometimes you need to have additional functionality. And with that comes this tool called Zapier or Zapier. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And what this does is it allows different applications that you have to communicate between each other and transfer data between each other and basically automate certain flows. And again, without writing code. So for example, if you have a Webflow site that is, say you're doing a site that, what could you be doing? I don't know, you're selling shoes. Say you're selling shoes and you have a form that says, here, please fill out this form if you're interested in, I don't know, getting on a wait list or something like that. And then it ended up costing like $5 or something. I have no idea. That's maybe a little bit of a bad example. Even let's just say it's a sign up form for your marketing newsletter. When you're on Webflow, you have in the details that you want the person to submit into the form, and then hit submit. That data needs to go somewhere, right? So whenever someone's interacting with a website and they hit submit, that data needs to go somewhere. So what Zapier does is it allows you to capture that data in a specific form and send it to different applications to meet whatever your needs are. So for example, the example that I just gave, if someone's filling out a form to subscribe to the newsletter, you can send that data into MailChimp, which is another platform that I use, which is a newsletter subscription platform, allows you to create like beautiful HTML emails and send that to your clients. So you can send that data from your Webflow form to MailChimp. And then from there, you can do other things as well too. So for example, if you wanted to create, maybe I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to get too involved and too detailed into what it does. So it allows you to communicate between two different applications. So like this, for example, a new lead. So you get somebody does something on Facebook, you can use Zapier to transmit that data and put it into your MailChimp account. So it's really, really nice. And again, it's a no code tool. Usually you'd have to access an API or whatever to do that. But this of course allows you to do it automatic. So another thing that I use quite a bit is Airtable, which is basically, you can almost think of it, I don't know what you can think of it as, like an online database. It's like Excel sheets, but more powerful. It could do a whole lot of different things, but you can almost think of it as like this online database platform where you can create connections and improvements on like a Webflow project. So for example, what could be another example? What could be an example of using Airtable? Just very simply, like for now, for example, I have a client right now that they're collecting registrations and submissions for abstracts for the conference that's coming up. And so I created the form within Webflow. So it's like, what's your name? What's your email address? What session do you want to register for? Upload your abstract, all these different forms to fill out. And then when they click register, as soon as they click register, I use Zapier to automate all that data and send it to Airtable, and it creates a database, basically like a spreadsheet of all that information of people that have submitted their abstracts. And then from there, I could share that table with people that are organizing the conference, and they could go ahead and look at, who submitted or whatever and approve them or what have you, change them or what have you. So that information is available. And then from there, again, that data can go anywhere, right? And you can use Zapier in order to automate that process. So it's just allows you to kind of connect different applications through like almost like a central database. It's kind of cool. Lots of other things that you can do with it as well too. But for me, primarily, that's kind of what I use it for, is like this place where I can kind of create tables that are accessible through different programs and applications, which is cool. So here's a site that I'm using right now, but I'm hoping that I won't have to use it for much longer. So this is MemberStack. And what MemberStack does is it allows you to create membership functionality to a website. So it allows you to create members. They could pay you on a recurring basis, like a monthly or a yearly membership. And then you can also kind of gate content to people that are part of your membership group. So it's like creating a membership site or community, right? So people can log in, they're members, they might have access to content that is for members only. So it's almost like creating your own Patreon, but not paying like the 10% fee or whatever that Patreon pays. You just have your own website that you have your own kind of community members for. So the reason I was using this was because Webflow didn't have any of that kind of stuff built in. Like it couldn't do memberships. But now I think they're in beta right now for memberships. So they do actually have this, which you can test out. So I've been testing it out and it's not quite there. It's almost there. But you're going to see, I'm actually going to be making a membership site probably very soon. And I'll probably just kind of live stream the whole process to see how it goes. And we can kind of test to see if we can get away from using MemberStack, because MemberStack is pretty pricey. It is, yeah. I mean, if you're paying month to month, it's $30 for a basic plan. And you also charge a 4% transaction fee. That is, to me, that is ridiculously too high, especially if you have only a couple members, if that. And having to pay a fee plus like a basic, monthly, like a flat fee plus a transaction fee is so frustrating. I don't know if that also includes the Stripe fee. No, it doesn't. Of course not. Because Stripe also charges 2.9% plus, or 2.9%, yeah, plus 30 cents per transaction. So you're paying 6%, almost 7% fees plus $30 a month. It is like, that can eat into your profits like huge. So, and I keep that in mind too when I'm trying to develop applications, what I'm going to charge. And like, it's like one or the other. Like you either charge a basic fee or a transaction fee. Like it's so, even at 4% transaction fee, that would be fine. Because if I don't have any transactions, then I don't pay anything, right? So that would be nice, because then it's almost like you're punished for not being as successful. So the more successful you are, and even here, the more you have, it's cheaper per transaction. It should almost be the opposite, or at least the same. Like if I'm more successful, I'll have more money to be able to pay more fees. Not that you should pay more or you should charge more just because you're successful, but it's like the pricing really punishes, I find, really small creators, and it makes it almost to the point where it's almost not even economically viable. That's how bad I don't like the pricing. So anyways, speaking of pricing, Stripe. So Stripe is pretty much a really huge industry standard for collecting or being able to collect payments for, your websites or what have you. So that's something that I use quite often. Now, if you've been following me for a little bit, you probably know that I really don't like Google. Too much of a market share for my liking, and they're very notorious for not being very privacy friendly for the average user. As they say, if you're not paying anything, then I don't know I don't even know what that's saying. But basically, if you're not paying, if you're trying to find out who the customer is, you're not the customer. You're the, what are we? We're the product, right? That's it. So, and for Google, the customer is the people that pay for advertising primarily, and we're the product, right? Our data is the product and our behaviors and what have you. So I don't like adding data to Google's arsenal. So I use, even though Google Analytics is free, which of course it's nice, right? Because it's free, but this is not free. This is, I think it starts at $14 a month. I just pay, I think I switched to yearly, so it's like $10 a month or something like that. But you own the data, and the data itself is like, I don't know, it's just privacy, right? Everything is private. So I don't know anything about people who go there. I just need to know what I need to know is who's going to my site, what are they looking at, what's the retention rate, where are they coming from, what are they searching, and how are they engaging with my content. That's it. I don't need to know any individual people, and I don't need Fathom to go around and sell that data to other people. Like, I don't want any of that kind of stuff. I just want to get the data that I need, and that's it. And I'm happy to pay a little bit extra to support a company that I think is doing really good work for one thing, and to be able to respect my users and my customers' privacy. So that's really important to me. So MailChimp, I use this as well too to send out emails, marketing emails, and I pay a little bit. They also have like a freemium version as well too, where you can pay, you can pay nothing up to, did they change it? It used to be like 2,000 people and 1,100 emails you can send. Now it looks like it doesn't even matter how many contacts you have. You can just only send 1,000 emails. Anyways, I pay a little bit because I have some automations where, the automated customer journeys. So if somebody signs up, it's like, in 5 days, send them this email. And then did they click on something? And then you could branch it off in like a little bit of a logic flow. So that's really, really cool. So I pay a little bit extra for that, even though I'm not really using it very much. But those are the main things that I use on a daily basis, or most of my days when I'm actually designing and developing websites for clients. So there could be other things too that are that help in terms of when I have to write some actual code or whatever. But those aren't things that I use kind of on a day-to-day basis. So getting into the more creative aspect with photography and videography, of course, the industry standard, the Adobe Creative Suite. I use Photoshop pretty much every day. Illustrator. I use it often enough, but not that often because I'm not very good at it. But I do use it whenever I do need to make some vector stuff, or there's some vector stuff that I'm working with. Adobe Acrobat I use pretty much every day. InDesign I use quite often to make print materials. Premiere Pro I don't use anymore because I use DaVinci Resolve. And After Effects I used to use quite a bit because that's when I learned how to do motion graphics. And I like it, but I've been trying to move over to DaVinci Resolve for that kind of stuff. But I don't do too much motion graphics these days. But After Effects is, I don't know, it's pretty good. Fusion is what DaVinci Resolve has, and I like that application as well too. So, but yeah. Anyways, Lightroom. I use Lightroom quite a bit for photography. I've used Capture One as well too for photography. But I need to see how Lightroom behaves when I'm tethering. It's when you hook your camera directly up to the software so that when you take a picture, it shows up on your computer screen or whatever. So when you're shooting somebody or whatever, you can see kind of on screen what the image looks like, which is really, really cool. But like I've done that with Capture One, but not Lightroom yet. So I have to see how that works. And like I'd love to go to Capture One, but like I'm nowhere near ready to be able to leave Adobe Creative Suite. I know a lot of people are trying to leave because they don't like paying the hefty monthly fee, which is definitely a thing. And there are alternatives to Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign. But I know for me that means learning a whole new suite of products. And given where I am in my business and what I'm trying to do, where the majority of the work that I'm doing is web design and development, for me right now, it just doesn't make sense to try to move on to something else just so I can save some money. So it works really well. I don't use Premiere, so I don't get crashing issues all the time. So yeah, I'm going to stick with it. I'm pretty happy. And again, yeah, it's expensive, but it's also the cost of doing business. So I don't mind. So I said before, DaVinci Resolve is what I use for all my video editing. I love it. I've made the switch over. I think it was when DaVinci Resolve 15, was 14? Maybe around 15. When I was kind of testing out in 16 was when I really kind of switched over. And this thing is super powerful. I actually have the studio version. I think I got that when I got one of the the keyboard editors, which is kind of really cool. And it's super powerful. Of course, the color grading industry standard. I mean, people are using this stuff to make Hollywood movies, right? So it's really, really powerful and great company, great products, and just a great experience all the time. I've never had this thing crash on me. No, that's not true. I think it's crashed a few times, but it's very rare, not compared to Premiere. And I think too, the crashing that I experienced was because my computer wasn't powerful enough to kind of handle things. So fantastic software. And for the free version, that'll take care of 99.9% of everyone's needs. It's really that good. So highly recommended. I use Adobe Stock for stock footage whenever I need some imagery or whatever for things that I'm making for my clients. This is what I have. I think I just have, what do I have? Like 10 free assets. It's pretty expensive. It's $39 a month, but something a lot cheaper than like Getty Images or whatever. It's like $500 per image, which is kind of like insane. But you also get some really high quality images too. So here you have to dig a little bit to find good things because the quality is not quite there. So you do get some crappy images that are there. That's like, I wouldn't even pay like $2 for. So it's hit and miss, but for the price point for where I'm at, it makes the most sense. And what I do for live streaming, which I'm just learning how to use the software, is this OBS, Open Broadcaster software. It's really cool. So it's what's running my live stream now. And there's lots of different extensions and tools that are available for OBS and plugins and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just getting started. As you can see, my stream is pretty vanilla. It's just, camera and what have you. So I'm hoping to increase my knowledge at some point and, to have cooler and cooler, looking streams. But for now, I don't know. I got a good camera, good video, and I just kind of put this up here and talk, and it meets my needs, and it's I like it. And moving along with the audio visual stuff, Simplecast is what I use to host our podcasts. So we have a few other podcasts that I've done with Andrea, and we kind of post them on there, and we kind of keep them up there. So we still have to pay for it, which is kind of annoying. There are some free versions out there as well. But I have all my stuff on there, so I just keep it on, and I'm a little weary of free sites because, I don't know, like it's just free sometimes. Sometimes it's good. Like with Resolve, like I know I've used it, and you just have the application, and it's just super, super powerful. But when it comes to uploading my content onto a website or what have you, when it's free, I don't know. Sometimes there's limitations. You can't even post that much, and I don't know. I just never found anything that really warranted me switching over. I think there was one that I think Spotify bought them. What are they called? They were a free alternative. I was looking into them. They seemed pretty good. Oh, I totally can't remember what it is. Anyways, but it didn't pique my interest enough to warrant switching. And a couple last things here. Artlist. This is what I use to get music. This is like royalty-free music that you can use on your videos or TikTok or Instagram or what have you. And they, oh, excuse me. And it looks like they've not upgraded, but they've expanded, and they actually have stock footage of video. And I haven't looked to see how good this stock footage is. But right now I don't really have too much use for stock footage, so I don't pay for it. But it's pretty cool. I mean, you can get some, like, it depends on the project that you're working on, if you want to have some B-roll or whatever. So it might come in handy. So, but yeah, just now music and the sound effects is what I use that for. And then Vimeo is where I host some of my like membership only content, where people who have access to my membership site, they can get access to those videos and nobody else. So I can highly control where those videos are seen, and you pay for it. And you can kind of play around with the player and all that kind of stuff. And it's not as restrictive as, say, like YouTube, which is like, here's the player and like, that's it. So I do like that. And that, I think, is pretty much it for the stuff that I use for like audio visual. And the last little section is stuff that I use kind of on a day-to-day for the operations. So, excuse me. So when I'm working day to day, the tools that I use are, well, let's just say Microsoft Office is probably one of the most used tools. That's where Excel files, Word documents, everything that I use to write quotes and all that kind of stuff, it all stems from there. So Microsoft Office is huge for me. I use Zoom right here, which is for communicating with clients and having calls and giving presentations or what have you. Everything goes through Zoom. Actually, when I do presentations, a lot of the times I just record them, just like I'm doing right now, and I'll record this and then I'll send it to them and then they can review things. So it saves time for setting up meetings and stuff like that, which is kind of really neat. But of course, if I'm just having calls with clients, I'm using Zoom. And again, with my trying to unplug away from Google instead of using Gmail or anything like that, or Google for email services, I use this software called Hey, which is pretty pricey. I think it's like $10 a month to host the emails. But the interface is totally new and totally novel. They've kind of like reimagined and rethought how email should be. And I like it. I think for now, I give it like a 7 out of 10. But I think there's still some things maybe I could learn about how to maybe utilize it better, because you don't tag anything. It's like based almost like on searching, to be able to search the things. And they have this thing here. It's like the screener. So they want to, it's like, they say they're giving you control of your email and your inbox, where it's like the screener is like, if somebody's calling you, you can decide whether to answer it or not. So if you have an email from somebody who's never emailed you before, you can decide whether to let them in or not. So if you say, no, I don't want to take these emails from these people, they just go to no. So you don't have to unsubscribe. You don't have to do anything. They'll put it back into this screened out section and you won't see any of their emails ever. So it's really, really nice to be able to not let in a bunch of spam or any of that kind of crap, or work with all these different filters and crazy things that you have to with Google. So it's pretty cool. There's some other powerful features which are nice. I find it just makes email a lot nicer. So if you're looking for something that's completely different, it's really cool. And one of the things actually that's really, really cool that I really like is that they have it's all about privacy. Now, where is the privacy thing? Can I? Yeah, blocking email spies. So when you have an email, you have this little thing right here. It's got those little binoculars. So a lot of times, even when you're using MailChimp or a bunch of other, when people use different softwares that send out automated emails, whether that's MailChimp or Salesforce, all kinds of different platforms, they get statistics on, who's opening your emails, how often are they opening, where they're clicking, all that kind of stuff. So they embed little spy things, obviously, inside the emails so that they can track that. So what Hey does is that whenever they see like whatever those spy things are that are tracking you, they completely block it out so that you can open your emails with confidence, knowing that they're not getting that data. And you'll be surprised at how complex your data can be. Like when you're in MailChimp, you can go in there, you can see the name of the person that is on your list. You can see when they opened, when they clicked, what they clicked, and you have all this data from that person. And then, of course, you can think of how powerful it is when you combine that data with other data that they could potentially buy from somewhere else. Like it's just, anyways, you can tell privacy is a huge, huge thing for me. So that's what sold me over to Hey, is using something that is private. I don't know if Proton Mail has any kind of privacy things like that. I mean, obviously it has privacy for blocking the actual contents of the message themselves, which is not even so much of what I'm worrying about. It's more of what other people are seeing about me and my habits and what I'm doing. So I really like that. So Asana, this is the productivity tool, which I use to track what my day-to-day tasks are and my projects are. So I set up a project for each new client that I have, and then you start putting in the work or whatever that needs to be done. And then, I wake up in the morning, I look at my Asana list, and I can kind of see the things that I need to worry about that are high priority, low priority, what have you. I could get in more details maybe to do more of a Asana walkthrough of how I use it, but it's basically a way for me to track the work, all the work that needs to be done within the company. So like literally everything is in there. So that's nice. Dropbox, you guys are probably familiar with this. It's just a tool that I use to put in documentations and share them with clients and whatever, just to have files that are available to me, outside of just my home and my computer. And LastPass is probably the least sexy thing, but actually really, really powerful in that it remembers all my passwords for all the different accounts that I have. And what I do is when I use LastPass, it can generate passwords for you. And when you have a password, yeah, like if you can see here, is it going to allow me to do anything here? Or do I have to click this? Anyways, there is this thing where you can slide it up to like however long you want. So I put it to like, 24 or 30 characters, and I have uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols, and it generates the string that, of course, no one's going to be able to guess. And it saves that password to LastPass. And then when you go onto a website, you just have the little, it's like a little browser extension, and then it fills, I think it just showed it here. Then it fills in your password onto, here's a kind of cool password. And it fills it in, like you click it. Oh, this is generating. And then it's putting in there for sign up. But anyways, it just autofills, so you never have to remember your password. The only password you need to remember is your actual password to LastPass. So that's the only thing. Now, of course, there are issues, because if LastPass gets hacked, which I think they did get hacked not too long ago, then, maybe they can get access to all your passwords. So it's like having all your cookies in one place, but hoping that the vault that those cookies are in are super, super secure. So is there risk? Yes, but there's risk if you take all your passwords and write them down on pen and paper, or it's even better than having like your Chrome browser just remember your password, right? Like whenever you're going into password, it's like, hey, do you want to remember this? Yes. And that's even less secure than LastPass. So anyways, it's a really good tool for remembering and creating and also sharing passwords. So what I have it too is if I have any contractors or whatever that are coming to work with me and they need access to, my Vimeo account so they can upload the videos, I can give them access to a shared password folder that they can in turn use to, log in or whatever. So it's a really good tool. I don't think it's very expensive. What's the pricing? Yeah, I think this is what I'm at, $550 per user per month or something like that. And then do I have a family? No, I think I have a business plan. So not too expensive compared to what you get. I think you get a lot for it. So it's a good bang for the buck. I have like, 50 or so passwords that are stored in there. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the software that I use. One thing to mention I have written down is Amazon Prime. So like a lot of people, I use Amazon, the only person I think in the world that uses Amazon. And it's good for if there's little things that I need to order for around the office or whatever. It gets here, within 2 to 4 days, depending on what it is. And so I just pay that $10 or whatever a month for Amazon Prime for delivery. Because it's helped me out in a pinch too if there are things that I know I can't get. Because I'm here in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and if it's not in any mall or store that's here, I can't just go drive to Toronto or whatever. There's no other really big city that's close by for me to get items, so it kind of has to be shipped in. So and sometimes it's like, oh shoot, I got to go do this thing for a client and I need this tool or whatever, and it's in 5 days and there's nowhere here that sells it. Amazon Prime is kind of something that I can usually rely on to get stuff to me on time. But of course, try not to save things to the last minute as well too, so you're stressing about things getting delivered on time, because Amazon has been known to lose packages every now and then. So those are the tools that I use. So let me know what you think. If you have any questions on any of those tools, or if you ever want me to go more in depth as to how I actually use them in my day-to-day or into my business, let me know. I'd be happy to share what information I can. Yeah, so I do have to run because I have a couple of meetings. I have one here starting very soon, so I need to just get a little bit prepared for it and then just back to work. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully your business is going well. Keep working away, keep plugging away, and we'll see you back here again for another stream tomorrow. All right, have a good one, and we'll talk soon.